Hey, I have a second channel. Cube Compium TDX. Hey everybody. Have a look at this. That is a whole lot of Dell machines. These are Dell Optiplex 390 systems. They're all sort of gutted. They all are missing the RAM and the hard drives. These were X computers. I guess you want to call it that, X computers from a pretty big company. That one of my buddies happens to do IT work at, and these were computers they were getting rid of, I think. Something like that. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of them. 8 of these, and there's another little Dell system in the floor down there, that little thing, which that's one of them special machines that does things its own way. It's proprietary and doesn't follow the ATX standard. These, however, do follow the ATX standard. So what's nice about them is even the cases I could reuse to build systems in from what it looks like. So let's get you a look around the back of them. Looks like all but one have a power supply. One has a video card. They're all Core i5 systems. They came with Windows 7. So they're probably from the 2011, 2012 era, if I were to guess. Right before the disaster known as Windows 8 come out. So we're going to get to go through these one by one. They all, maybe not all, but some of them definitely had some problems. So these could all be parts computers. Who knows? Like I say, we're just going to have to find out. Okay, so I got the camera aimed at our station here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch our KVM switch over to the second input. Right now it's on the Plexi. The Plexi's running, of course. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a stick of RAM. DDR3. That's what these take. Don't have to be anything spectacular by any means. I got a, matter of fact, there's a 1 GB stick right here. I'll just grab. That'd be our little test module. So, yep. We'll use this stick here as our test module. Okay, so we'll use this stick here as our test module. So, now, what we get to do is start grabbing these machines one by one and trying them out. So, like I mentioned, we could have some good stuff in here, or we could have a bunch of parts. Some of the cases on these are pretty beat up, so I mean, some of these cases will probably not get used if the computer isn't good. Because let's face it, these things, some of them are pretty beat up. And what's funny is there's like spots on these things where like the clear wrapping is still on the case. They never took it off. Alright, so we'll see if I can get a better. Okay, so 2012 is when these machines were manufactured. February 18th, 2012. So what I'll do is I'll take the cover off this first one here and let you get a closer look inside of it. So I believe that these are all nearly identical as far as specs goes. Now there is that one that has a video card. Not sure if it's any different or not, but wait, I take that back. This one has a hard drive in it. I hope they wiped it. That's all I can say. It's got a Western Digital, what is that? It's caviar blue. Kind of hard to see from this angle. Maybe it's a 250 gig, I don't know. Yeah, 250. 250 gigabytes. So hey, some of these actually still have hard drives in them. So that's a pleasant surprise, but I think I do recall seeing all of them missing memory. They've got, like I said, let's get the camera off here and let you get a closer look at it. And one thing I probably should have done, considering we had some nice weather, was get the air compressor out and just blow all these out, because they're all kind of dirty. It would have been a nice thing to do for a video, which I probably still will do once we get some nice weather again. So there's your motherboard, Dell motherboard, of course, but this machine is one of those special Dells. It's one of the special Dells that follows the ATX spec down to, let's say, now, well, that must be like a PC speaker there. It appears okay. Now we have our audio connections there. We got USB there, it looks like. This front panel header, trying to tell if it follows the standard or not. But yeah, if they don't, then who knows? Yeah, like I say, the cases on these machines are just, some of them are pretty beat up. So we're missing RAM, of course, right now. Not sure exactly what processor we have. Here's our power supply. It's a Chickeny Power, which I believe is a spinoff of Hypro. 265 watts, I think is what it says. Yeah, it's funny. A 265 watt power supply. Usually they're like, the power supplies I usually see in like units like this are usually like 250 watt, 300 watt, roughly. You know, numbers like that. Okay, so I had to take another look again. So it appears these things are not 100% what you would call, I guess, ATX compatible. The power supply is definitely ATX 24 pin. So the power supplies in these could be reused in other applications. But, got a DVD-ROM drive. Must have been custom ordered that way. Save what, a couple of dollars maybe per computer. If I recall, when I bought the DVD-ROM drive for the Black Max, of course the Black Max, my parents' computer, has always had a DVD burner and a DVD-ROM drive, two separate optical drives. I had some SATA DVD burners, but I didn't have any SATA DVD-ROM drive, so I ordered one off Newegg when I upgraded to Black Max. And I think the price of a SATA DVD-ROM was roughly about the same as the price of a SATA DVD burner. So yeah, it's funny. They may as well just point with DVD burners. Got you a nice big wad of dust there. Like I say, I'll probably end up having to take these outside and clean them up some. But anyways, let's go ahead and pop some RAM in this one, see if it runs. I'm more curious if the hard drive still has data on it. If it reveals company information, I'm going to have to blur it. But chances are, if it's got a, if it still has a Windows installation on it, most likely I won't be able to log into it, because these machines will probably join to a domain. So I'm going to pop this in there. This 1 gigabyte stick. Let's hope none of these power supplies go kaboom when I plug them in. I noticed one machine was missing a power supply, and Yeah, one was missing a power supply and one had a loose power supply in it. Who knows, I may pull one of these units and crack open for you guys to look at. Yeah, they're so I did a video recently of a chickeny power supply. Matter of fact, it's the unit that's running my lights and battery charger right now. You know, a little 180 watt thing. It kind of struggles a little bit when you're when you got four 18650s charging from like 3 volts or whatever. Like my light will kind of flicker a little bit the way the charger works. Anyways, like I say, I know I'm doing a lot of talking. Trying to keep my mind off of certain things right now. I'm not going to go into detail right now. I might talk about on CubeComp MDDX in a little bit. But nothing like nothing really bad or nothing like that. Oh, okay, I'll go ahead and say it. So, had a death in the family today. Yeah, very sudden, unexpected. So yeah. Anyways, so we got to stick a RAM in this one, and let's see here. Let's get all our connections hooked up. All right, let's hope for the best. All right, let's see if this one runs. So we've already got a flashing amber light, which is not a good sign. This one is absolutely refusing to start. Yeah, it won't even start up at all. Okay, so we got a solid light on the motherboard. Wow, that went out like instantly. Yeah, it's not going to power up at all. Let me try one thing first with this one. I'm going to pull this RAM module out, see if it behaves any different. Obviously, it ain't gonna boot up with that RAM, but it's one thing I do try. Just to see if I can get it to run. Same behavior. So like I mentioned, I don't know the exact story behind these. Maybe some of them got lightning run in them. I don't know. So next thing I'm going to try with this one is a different power supply unit. So I got my test supplier over here, which hasn't been started up in forever. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to verify that this Dell supply is in fact ATX compatible, which I do think it is. Oh yeah, it is. So, I got this test unit here. I'm going to swap it out. I'm only going to plug in the motherboard. I'm not going to bother with the hard drive or optical drive. I just want to see if the thing's going to post. See if it's going to boot up. So let's put this RAM module back in. Plug in our CPU power connection. I'm thinking it's the motherboard probably. Yeah, I'm thinking I'm going to be coming across a lot of these actually. Alright, so we're going to try this unit. See if we get any different behavior. Okay, so we actually got some fans that time. The fans twitched. It's probably like a self-test that the motherboard does. Let's see if it will. Okay, we don't have a flashing amber light this time. Alright, it's starting up. Bad power supply most likely. And there you go. So this one had a bad power supply. So I'm going to get some notes and I'm going to mark down the issues I find with each one, because like I said, we got a whole stack of them here. Got to keep track of them. Okay, so I've went ahead and numbered all these systems, and I've went ahead and noted this one had a bad power supply. So let's go ahead and just go into the setup. Let's see what we have here. Ooh, this is a UEFI. Very sweet. So, turn this around here so that way hopefully I'll be able to monitor what the camera is seeing. Hopefully it won't be like my dishwasher repair video where where I was blocking the view half the time. So we can go in here and see. Let's see, for example. It was set up to UEFI and Windows Boot Manager. I wonder if they upgraded these machines to Windows 10. What's nice is they did not set a BIOS lock on these machines, at least so far. It's a good sign, very good sign. So the fact these have a UEFI BIOS means they'll be good for Windows 10. So yeah, it's funny, these machines, they came with Windows 7, but of course they were from 2012. But I think it was from early 2012, if I remember from what I've seen in the sticker. Anyways, let's go ahead and look at our system information. There we are. So we have a Core i5 2400 CPU, 3.1 gigahertz. It's a quad core. Not bad. So I'm gonna guess all of these machines probably have that. Like I said, I'll be running through. Most likely I'll be running through. I'll be running through some setup utilities on some of these just to see what they all have. So that's this one. So I'm going to shut this one off and let's move on to the next one. I'm not going to go too deep into this because I got 7 more to test. So I'm going to shut this off. And unplug this, and I'll go ahead and get the next system up. Okay, now we're on to system number 2. This one does not have a hard drive. This one does, however, have a video card in it. It looks like the innards of this one about the same. Oh yeah, I gotta take the RAM module out of this one over here. That's right, I was using the donor memory module just to test these things. Because as I mentioned, none of them have RAM. We'll pop this stick of memory in here. So let's see what this one here does. Okay, that's a good sign. Huh, not getting any video. Let's reseat this RAM module. This one could in fact have a bad motherboard. If it doesn't go, there we are. Just had to reseat the RAM module. So yeah, this one is like the last one. So we got some kind of video card in here. You may be able to hear the fan on it. Noisy as all get out. And let's see here. Core i5 2400 CPU, 3.1 gigahertz. Yeah, same processor. Yeah, so there you have it. That's the second one now that has a working motherboard. The power supply seems to be okay in this one. So let's go ahead and switch out for the third. And this time, of course, unplug it. The light on the motherboard actually stayed lit for about 10 seconds there. So we know the primary capacitors in this unit are good. The unit overall seems okay. So let's pull the RAM out. And pop the side panel back on it and we'll move on to the next one. Okay guys, so here's system number 3. System number 3 is missing a power supply. So we're going to have to use our little test unit. Kind of like before with the first machine. Pop or stick a RAM in there. Again, this one is just like the first and second on the inside. Alright, so let's see what's going on with this one. So the first one, as you've seen, the power supply was bad. So the power supplies in these units may not be the most reliable. Like last time, we're going to just plug up the motherboard. It's crazy they didn't even leave the SATA cables this. They even took the SATA cable off the freaking DVD drive. That's alright though, I got plenty of SATA cables. It's like, wow, come on. So, there's a chance this one may have other issues, but like I say, some of the issues may not surface until they may not surface until the point that I actually install Windows and try using the system. Power supply. It won't cooperate. Plug this in here. So this thing, this motherboard does a quick test of the power supply whenever you switch on power to it. It just briefly powers on for like a second. We can plug up all the cables here. So this one does not have a video card in it. It uses the integrated motherboard graphics. Looks like it did have a video card in it though at one point, because there's two expansion slot covers missing. So maybe they had there's a chance they could have had a high-end card in this thing for something. I don't know. Alright, let's see if we can get it started. So it does a brief little test of the power supply. What it does is when you turn on power to it, once the motherboard gets 5-volt standby, it briefly switches on this unit. You do a quick little self-test. See if this one will post. Oh yeah. With the setup. Ah, look at that. See how it just froze up? Let me try reseating the RAM module. And it just shut off. Shut off on its own. It was going to reset. It tried to start back up on its own. I'm going to reseat the RAM module in this one. Yeah, it's kind of hard to get all this in the frame, but let's see what's going to do this time. This one's definitely flaky. No doubt. So this one very well could have a motherboard problem. Would explain why they must have salvaged the power supply out of it for another machine, maybe. I don't know. So reseat the RAM module again. See what it does this time. I mean, obviously that's a good stick of RAM. It was working fine in the other machines. Yeah, guys, I think I'm going to rule this one as a failing motherboard. Alright, on to the next one. Okay, so this one looks pretty nice and clean inside. This one doesn't have a hard drive in it, and of course no memory. This one also don't have a video card in it. It does have its original power supply, so we'll see if it's good. Pop our stick of RAM in there and see if it runs. Okay, so this one probably has a bad power supply. It's flashing amber, so go ahead and unplug that and we'll hook up our test unit. That'd be the second one now with a the failing power supply. Definitely, I must say these units are really flaky. I never didn't realize it was that bad. The college I work at, we got a bunch of Dell computers that had those. They look to be the chickeny power units because they look identical. The systems are not the exact same model. They're newer, but power supplies look almost identical. So definitely we are going to have a couple of power supplies to open up. I may do a visual inspection in a later video. See if maybe they got failing capacitors. They do have working 5-volt standby. I mean, that's how they was able to light up the LED on the motherboard, and also allow the motherboard to fail its self-test. Alright, so got our test supply here. And it did start up. We did its little self-test. See if we can get this one to run. It started up, it shut off, started back up again. Yeah, so I kind of suspected the CMOS battery's dead in this one. That's why it behaved a little different. So we'll go ahead and enter setup. System information. Manufacture date February 20th, 2012. Ownership date April 7th. Interesting. So they must apparently when the company ordered these machines, Dell went in here and put in this information. I guess that was probably the effective date of the warranty. So Core i5 CPU, Core i5 2400, same processor. So let me see here. I'm just really just looking around. But yeah, so this one just needs a CMOS battery. I'll go ahead and note that in my notes, and we'll move on to the next one. Okay, so this one is number 5. This one's kind of filthy on the inside. So some of them are actually really clean, and others are just absolutely filthy. Here's a look inside. So we're going to do the typical install a stick of RAM, see if the thing works. Power supply's good on that one. Must have a dead CMOS battery in this one too. Okay, so same CPU. I'm pretty sure by now you know what it is. It seems like this one just needs a CMOS battery and a good cleaner, and it'll be good to go. And of course, well, relatively speaking, it's going to need, of course, RAM and a hard drive and a Windows install, the typical. Okay, so here's number 6. This one is nowhere near as dirty inside. It's got some dust in it, but it's not definitely not as bad. So I'm going to load our stick of RAM in there and plug this one up, see if it starts. So it looks like so far we had one that had a bad motherboard. 2 of them had bad power supplies. At least I'm recalling. I do have a list. plug this one in and see what we get. That decided it's going to start up by itself. Previous fan failure. Alert hard drive fan failure. Hard drive not found. Well, of course, hard drive's not in it. Yep, same processor, i5 2400, 3.1 GHz. So it looks like well, at least from what I can tell, this one's going to be okay. We just have to, I'd have to, of course, build a system in it and, well, put a hard drive in it and add some memory and install Windows, and then I would know for sure if there'd be any issues. So, looks like number 6 is going to be okay. Of course, here's that. So, move on to number 7. Okay, so here's number 7. Number 7 has a hard drive in it. So, that's 2 systems now that still had their hard drives intact. I'm willing to bet I'm willing to bet that they were missed when they gutted these things. So I'd imagine hard drives may still have data on them, so I'll have to wipe them. But, no memory, so we gotta pop some RAM in it. That power supply is bad. It's flashing amber. So that's 3 bad power supplies now. So we're up to 3 out of 8, and number 8, interestingly enough, the power supply in it is actually not bolted in. It's just sitting in there. So not sure what we're gonna get with that one. So we could be half and half bad power supplies with these, which is kind of crazy. Probably filling gaps. Like I said, I'd have to crack them open and have a look inside. Yeah, let's have to fire up on its own. Yep, the typical i5 2400. So, yep, so. And of course, I don't have the hard drive plugged up to the power supply, so it ain't running. So, that's number 7. Number 7, bad power supply. Okay, so here's number 8. Power supply is just sitting loose in this one. Not sure why. I guess I'll plug up this unit and see what we get. Well, actually, before I do that, get a quick peek inside. Also doing the smell test. You know what's funny, guys? This power supply actually smells. Guys, I think this is actually like a brand new unit. There's no dust at all in it. So I wonder if perhaps they had ordered a new power supply, a direct OEM replacement supply. I don't know. Well, let's pop it back in there and see if it works. So we'll just plug up the motherboard to power and see if it will fire up in a good way. Stick this RAM in here. Now this unit, well, this computer, I was going to say it looked perfectly clean, but there's a little bit of dust in the bottom of it. But that power supply, though, as I mentioned, the dang power supply, it almost looks like it's brand new. So let's see. See if it's good. Motherboard might be bad in this one. I mean, this computer, it looks rough. I mean, the case looks pretty rough. So there's a chance that this one very well could be, well, bad. But if that power supply is good, then we can stick that power supply on a different computer. Now you're just seeing the back of my shirt. Just plugged in here. Okay, this particular one, let's see here. It is not starting. Motherboard LED is lit. However, I think the power supply is probably okay. I mean, it looks like a new power supply. It looks like they ordered a new power supply for this one. And yeah, see if I can jump it manually. So I'm gonna unplug it. What I'll do is pull the main connector out. We'll just unhook it from the system completely. And just plug the unit in. See if I can jump it. So green to black on these is how you start them. See if the fan's running. Okay, we are green to black, and it is not running. So the power supply, actually, maybe I was wrong. I thought that was probably, I mean, it smelled like it actually had kind of a new smell to it, but the thing is with power supplies, sometimes when you clean them out, when you blow them out with the air compressor, sometimes they'll gain that new smell back a little bit. So let's grab our test unit. So it looks like we may be 50-50 on power supplies with these things. That's pretty pathetic. So the units that are bad, what they've been doing is they'll provide 5-volt standby to the motherboard, but they won't start. Sometimes failing capacitors can cause that. Okay, let's see what we get. Notice the fans didn't twitch. Ew. Yeah, this one, I think this one's done. Not starting at all. So I'm gonna mark that down as bad power supply and bad motherboard. So this one's definitely gonna be one of the ones that just gets scrapped. We'll pull the CPU out, and that'd be it. Well, actually, yeah. Also the DVD drive, we can save that too. So we're going to put that down as bad power supply and bad motherboard. Okay, guys. So here's our scorecard. I know this is kind of sloppy writing, but we've had 4 with bad power supplies. We have 2 bad motherboards. 2 that had bad CMOS batteries, which that's a really simple fix, and 2 of them that seem to not really have any issues. So there you have it, guys. That's what you get with a fleet of machines like this that are like, they were taken out of service and ultimately replaced. Some of these they could tell they operated in harsh environments. So, but yeah, guys, that 50-50 failure rate of power supplies, that's kind of crazy. Once I get some spare time, we'll definitely have to explore those units, open them up and see what's going on with them. Maybe there's some bulging caps in them. Sometimes you just need to replace the caps, and once the caps are replaced, the unit will come back to life and get another at least few years out of them. So anyways, I guess before we wrap up the video, let me show you this last machine, even though I can't test it. So we'll get this out of the way here, our little test rig. Okay, guys, so here's the last machine. We could call this number 9. It's that special variety from Dell that uses their own proprietary garbage power supply. I did a video of a system like this about a few years ago. I think it was 2018, 2017 roughly. Yeah, one of them really special units. So this is appears to be a Windows 10 era system. It has the Pro Windows sticker on the back. I don't say Windows 8. It just says Windows. So that's what they did with that when it went to Windows 10. So these things are kind of finicky about how you get inside of them. I've never really liked these kinds of machines. So there's the front of it. I got our laptop optical drive. This is why I'm not a fan of today's desktops. They're junk. They're garbage. When something breaks, you're pretty much screwed. So, see, we have our own proprietary motherboard. Motherboard has the front USB ports and stuff integrated into it, and it has its own DC to DC conversion for your drives. And of course, this one, the drives have been yanked out of it. This one's new enough that it has 2.5-inch bays for solid state drives. It does not have a M.2 slot, so I guess it's not that new. One of the special varieties that takes DDR3L memory, which is, I think, the newer standard. And still got a CPU. Yeah, we got a CPU on there, so we can pull that processor out. And for what it's worth, got a laptop optical drive, SATA optical drive. But yeah, so this is the style computer that I would say it predates what is now known as the ATX 12VO standard that I think it was Intel come out with for mainly for OEM systems. And of course, the enthusiast grade market, the custom builder market, is still, of course, using ATX, which I'm glad of. But and it's funny. So they thought it was a better idea to move conversion of 12 volts to different outputs onto the motherboard, that's what ATX 12VO does. It sends 12 volts to the motherboard, and the motherboard does the conversion to 5 volts and 3.3 volts. They say this was for the sake of energy efficiency. Yeah, I call it a bunch of crap because newer power supplies, they pretty much do the same thing. It's just built into the power supply. So you're offloading. So the ATX 12VO, it offloads stuff from the power supply and instead puts on your motherboard, which therefore increases the cost to manufacture motherboards, and it's just overall I'm not a fan of it. At least though, provided that OEMs like Dell and HP and those adopt the standard, maybe it wouldn't be so hard to get power supplies for these things, because like systems like this, it's just uses its own style of power supply, which is very similar to ATX 12VO. I think the last time I looked at one of these, which was again back in I think 2018, it was a 12 volt only power supply. Even a standby circuit was 12 volts. So there you have it. So we got a heatsink fan assembly, got a processor, Core i5, and fans. So, and cables. There you have it. So be able to salvage what I can out of this piece of crap, but you can clearly see the difference between something like this and those older Dells. In the case the power supply is going bad, you just swap out the power supply and you keep it on going, because you could use a standard off-the-shelf ATX power supply in the thing, whereas this thing, it ain't happening. You got to buy a power supply from Dell, and you can best bet that I'm not going to spend money on this thing. So, anyways, that wraps up for this video. So that was going through 8 of those Dell Optiplex systems. Optiplex, what was it? 390. And followed up with this thing. This Optiplex 3040. You can clearly see a difference between 2012 era construction versus much more, dare I say, modern construction. Yeah, I don't call it modern, I call it garbage. So anyways, hope you all enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. Well everybody, that wraps it up for this video, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like the video. Also, don't forget to subscribe to your channel, and be sure to tick that bell so you'll get notified when new videos are posted. Also, don't forget, I have a whole lot of other interesting videos here on the channel to check out. And also, in addition, I have a second channel, CubeCompMTDX, where I have all sorts of other videos not exactly related to technology. Links to the channels are available at the end of this video. Again, I thank you for your support and thanks for watching this video.